Hi all of you awesome scuba divers out there, welcome to Scuba Diver Magazine and welcome to Ask Mark, our scuba diving Q&A where I, Mark, a former dive instructor and now HSE media diver, do my very best to answer your scuba diving questions. If you do have any scuba questions, pop them down in the comment section underneath this video and use this Ask Mark hashtag to get it featured in an up and coming video. But in the meantime, I do type out an answer to your questions as soon as I see them, so you do get an answer as soon as possible. You don't have to wait for the video to be released. But I do get to elaborate a bit more on the answer in the video. Also, if you're a part of the Scuba Diver Magazine community, you're subscribed to the channel, then yeah, have a look down in the comment section under this video. If there are any questions that you can answer and they are unanswered, yeah, by all means let them know. Today we're answering a question from Wayne about whether it's worth investing in a dive computer when you're just starting out and whether a nitrox course is worth it. So Wayne says, Mark, your videos have been extremely helpful in me researching. My wife and I are getting ready to sign up for our open water course. Should we buy a dive computer to use during our course? Also, is it worth it to do the nitrox course at the same time? Thank you in advance for your knowledge. So you don't need to have to buy your own dive computer. They are typically included as school equipment at most dive centers. It can be quite nice to own your own dive computer though, so that you're not learning how to use one model and then you have to learn how to use another model after you qualify. But it's not essential. A lot of divers, when they first start out, they'll typically buy their mask, fins and snorkel. And that's the first thing that they invest in. Your mask, definitely, because it's the thing that touches your face. So you want a decent mask and something that's going to last a long time, because your mask can be the one piece of equipment that follows you through your entire dive career. So you want to make sure that you get the right one that fits you nice and comfortably, and yeah, doesn't irritate you or make you come out looking like a panda because you got that red mark all around your face. So yeah, your mask, the snorkel to pair with it, and probably a pair of fins, but I wouldn't worry too much about a pair of fins. Again, it's usually included as school equipment. All of it is included as school equipment. It's not unusual to have divers turn up, or students turn up and have absolutely no equipment. That's the most common. Sometimes they do turn up with equipment and that's perfectly fine. Sometimes they turn up and they buy equipment on the course, because it's nice to have that instructor to point you in the right direction and guide you and say, yeah, this is a nice mask, but actually this might suit you a little bit better, or actually this one doesn't fit you quite right. Let's try this one. They can help to recommend, and it's nice to be able to do that on the course if the instructor has the time. As far as dive computers, yeah, most dive computers are quite universal is the word that comes to mind. It's not quite the right word. They're great all-rounders, and it's a matter of they'll be perfectly suited for when you're very first starting out, and you'll continue to be able to use it all the way up to like dive master, even instructor level. A lot of dive computers are very multifunctional nowadays. They're fairly, or you can find fairly inexpensive ones as well, that even if you did at a later date decide that you wanted to move into like tech diving or whatever, and invest in a really fancy one, then you can still use that older one, just put it in like gauge mode and have it as a redundant backup. So yeah, it would be a good investment, but it's not a necessary investment. It's very much up to you. And yeah, I've done it before where I've taught students, they have their own dive computer, which is perfectly fine. If anything, the school kind of prefers it because it means that they're not wearing out their dive equipment, their school equipment. But also, yeah, you're learning how your dive computer communicates underwater and how it functions underwater, as opposed to learning how the school dive computer works. And then you suddenly have to get your own dive computer, and then you have to forget everything that you've learned about that and learn how to navigate this new dive computer. So it can be nice to have your own gear. As far as the nitrox course, I think nitrox is the most widely considered best scuba course for every diver to go on. It can be a dry course, meaning you're not required to get in the water at all. It's mainly theory based. I think in some courses, depending on the training agency, there's an optional dive where you just go for a dive on nitrox basically. You got to work out all your MODs and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, nitrox is good because it teaches you a bit more about like diving physiology, biology and physics, how different gas mixes affect your body at different depths, different considerations, so you're a bit more aware of your maximum depths and why they're set at different levels. And also going forwards, yeah, just diving on nitrox, especially in like a liverboard setting, is so much better because you don't get the same amount of like lethargy because you're breathing a higher oxygen mix. It kind of gives you a little bit of a perk, a bit of a pick-me-up. So you're breathing this enriched air nitrox, and yeah, you can usually pick out on like day 3 and 4 which divers are diving on air and which divers are diving on nitrox, because the air divers are getting a bit more tired sooner, whereas the nitrox divers are still like bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. They've got that nitrox pick-me-up. Yeah, it is good, and it is something that you can do straight after your like open water course. And yeah, I think most instructors, most divers in general, recommend the nitrox course. Yeah, it adds an extra day or so onto your training, but once you get that ticket under your belts, then yeah, you can dive on nitrox going forwards. And if you have your own dive computer, then your instructor will hopefully be able to help you navigate and show you how to set up nitrox on your dive computer. Yeah, it's not really a requirement for students to have their own dive computer when they very first start out, but it wouldn't be the end of the world if you turned up and you had your own. You could argue it's slightly better for you to have your own dive computer so that you know how that one works. You're not learning how the school dive computer works and then you have to relearn how your own dive computer works. Most divers though don't invest in their dive computer until they start going diving by themselves. So it's not a requirement, but if you can afford to own your own dive computer and invest in your own, then yeah, go for it. There's nothing bad about investing early. Just try and make sure that you get a half decent dive computer that will last for your reasonable diving career. You don't want to end up like buying a computer and then like after you get your qualification go, actually I should have bought this one. It's always better to have a chat with your dive center, have a chat with an instructor, and they can better recommend certain directions and whether this is a good dive computer for you, well, that's a better dive computer for you. But anyway, yeah. Any other questions, by all means pop them down in the comment section underneath this video. Use this #AskMark hashtag to get yourself and your question featured in an up and coming video. Remember to head over to our website, scubadivingmag.com. Check out all of the latest scuba diving news and reviews on our website, and subscribe here on YouTube if you're not already. Thank you for watching everybody, and of course, safe diving.